welcome Chancellor Lori Carrell.
Thank you, Chris, and hi, everybody. It's really great to see your faces. Melanie, I appreciated that reflection quite a bit. And I'm seeing alumni, colleagues, university founders, benefactors, and lots of good friends. And here we are together again in a Zoom room. Wow, are we ever experiencing disruptions to our way of life? How Rotary meets and how Rotarians live out our commitment to service, how holidays and special occasions are celebrated, how we interact in families, in our friendships and professional settings. And even as we're mourning losses, we are in the process of learning from these disruptions. We're not yet to hindsight, but that's in progress. I'm sure you've been thinking too about what we are learning. You probably have your own answers. I have a few. We seem to be more creative. We're more appreciative of the things we cherish, and we're reflecting more with this forced pause to our usual way of living as individuals and as organizations. We seem to be learning to inspect what we do and why, who we are, and importantly, it's not too soon to think about how we will emerge from this season. I'm predicting we'll be ever more determined. We'll be very clear about our priorities and values, and potentially we'll be full of new ideas. It's possible to emerge with insight. I think that's true for each of us personally and also professionally. Certainly in my professional arena, educators at all levels are learning from disruption, even as the struggle continues. And as we're looking forward into 2021, I think it's realistic to be optimistic. At the University of Minnesota, all 5 campuses, we have been learning from disruption. We're getting creative, we're getting clear about what we cherish most, and we're reflecting on what's happening to inform future innovation. That sort of future focus is happening not only in Minnesota, but also across the country. There's a new collaboration among thought leaders. It's called Higher Ed's Big Rethink. There are priorities related to racial and economic justice, to closing achievement gaps, to technology's influence, to mental health and well-being. And there are these traditions and structural elements in higher ed that are barriers to innovation, and we've got to take an honest look at those as well. That's nationally, and also at the Rochester campus, we are riveted on student success, knowing the demand for talent development in the healthcare industry is increasing, while the youth population is decreasing and diversifying. We must educate a wider swath of the population. And our industry partners for the local campus here are in healthcare. And of course, even as they are serving heroically in the COVID battle, our alumni among them, which makes me unbelievably proud. The healthcare industry is also accelerating innovation based on what they are learning in this disruptive period. And we who educate for that industry must adapt. I can't resist taking a moment to share a few fun facts about our campus. Lots of you know us well, but a few may be new and unaware of what's been happening at Rochester's University of Minnesota. Our history, we were born from service, from engaged citizens, community organizers, successfully brought a University of Minnesota campus to this city. Thank you. There were many in Rotary who were part of that grassroots effort, and our campus community is eternally grateful and feel their responsibility deeply. We started serving students in 2009, led by my friend and colleague, Chancellor Emeritus Stephen Limcool. Here's his recently released book, Campus with Purpose. And that purpose is student success, student learning, using research to inform practice. It's a very rich history, and it's brought us in a short time to fabulous outcomes. There's success for our graduates. We have a diverse student body of resilient young people who are passionate about making a difference in the world with a career in health. We have innovative faculty and staff and very hardworking students, and they together have produced outcomes of equity. Also essential to our grad success is our partnership with Mayo for student experiences. We have this vision to prepare students to solve the grand health challenges of the 21st century. And when we wrote that sentence, I don't know that we ever imagined a challenge like the one that we're facing. The vision has two parts. We're also the university's educational innovation campus, seeking to transform higher ed to be a demonstration case for doing what works. So these disruptions of the last year have necessitated a hybrid approach to instruction. Our students, I'm so proud of this too, very high compliance with public health guidelines, and as a result, low positivity rates in the fall. The enrollment of our diverse student body has seen significant growth, and that is continuing. Our building plans with the Y were COVID interrupted. Grateful for city support as we find partial and interim strategies to meet facilities needs. And though we have an established long-range plan we call the bluff top view, the question is now becoming, how will the disruptions impact our innovation? We are actively working on the design of what's next for universities. It's a puzzle, and there are key pieces of that puzzle, nationally and locally. One of those puzzle pieces is technology. We've learned that tech holds both promise and peril, and that it's up to us to use this tool for good. We've learned that the technology students use for entertainment, gaming for example, is far more vibrant than the tech tools we have for teaching and learning. With virtual reality and augmented reality, you can imagine teenagers who are gaming, having that gaming interrupted so they can go to class, which means getting in a Zoom room like this one as we try to remember to get ourselves off mute. Very different levels of vibrancy. And so we ask, how can we optimize tech to enhance teaching and learning? We've learned that artificial intelligence and learning analytics at scale can enhance student success, and we want to leverage those tools. And in the cherish category, we have learned that time together for teaching and learning, mentoring, that time together is precious. I would even say sacred. And so now we will consider which parts of which courses are best done in person, deserving of that sacred space, and which content could be taught virtually with higher tech tools. Because our campus has an identity as innovators, we want to lead the way in higher ed as we emerge from these disruptions. The puzzle of the future of higher education has three key questions. First, how can we drive down the cost of college for students while increasing the equity in educational outcomes so more of our youth population can become educated? Second, how can we optimize high tech in teaching and learning while sustaining the high touch approach that helps more students succeed? And third, how can we reimagine college coursework to produce the future-proof competencies employers seek and produce engaged and mentally healthy citizens? To answer these three questions, we've partnered with a tech giant and the world's greatest healthcare organization. And we have created a pilot for a new model, accelerated, selectively high-tech, personalized with coursework focused on real-time health challenges and with direct pipelines into employment. That proposed disruption-informed pilot is headed to the Regents in February for approval and is embedded in the university's funding request for the state. Now, if you had the privilege of attending college, you may look with nostalgia at your own experiences, and you may want to replicate that experience for today's students and tomorrow's students. But unless you have been educated in this decade, the 2020s, we might need to let go of that older model and listen to today's students and our future-focused employers. We are in a new context. Listening to the students is imperative. Think about these young people experiencing the pandemic, viewing and experiencing racial injustice and resulting unrest, experiencing political division, sorting through what makes something a fact and how science works and why it matters, and what and whom to trust, and how to manage well-being in a period of extreme isolation and ambiguity. These are not trivial matters, and they are central to university life going forward, impacting what students will need to learn and how they will need to learn in the post-pandemic future that I hope will arrive very soon. For now, we must continue to reflect even as we endure, so that as educators and as people, we emerge having deepened our learning and our devotion to all that we cherish. I thank you for this time to share.